Los Angeles, September 30th, 1941. The sun is setting on the City of Angels, leaving only the warm glow of the streetlights and neon signs to stave off the encroaching darkness. In 2 short months, the United States will officially declare its involvement in one of the bloodiest wars in human history. But for now, the people of the city live lives of blissful ignorance, safely insulated against the growing horrors of the outside world. Or so they think. From the balcony of his spacious Hollywood mansion, Cyrus Cole puffs thoughtfully on an expensive cigar and reflects on his now 20 years that he spent as a producer. He grins, the cigar still firmly clenched in his teeth, as he overlooks the illuminated city with the same air as a king surveying his kingdom. Just then, the moment is interrupted, as Cyrus hears a knock on the door to his office. Slowly, he steps away from the balcony and towards his desk, retrieving a fully loaded Browning high power from the topmost drawer. Gun in hand, the producer slinks towards the doorway as silently as possible, hoping to get the drop on his would-be assassin. Cyrus Cole presses himself against the wall beside the doorway, gently leans in and turns the door handle, and in that moment, he is immediately engulfed in flames. Malachi?
Yes.
Out of the other 3 characters, which one do you trust the least?
Let's say Kato.
Kato? What's your reasoning for that?
I had to sort of temper my powers in order to learn to control them, whereas hers were more bestowed upon her, and she's got almost a natural advantage over the rest of the world, rest of the natural world, and so I think that's power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Okay. Kato?
Yes.
Choose a faction that you want Malachi to become involved with.
Well, what faction is he part of now?
He's a member of the Power faction as an Oracle.
I want him to be. Can I corrupt him even more and make him like me? Make him be part of the Wild?
Sure, yeah, you can do that.
Sweet.
Malachi, on your character sheet, mark Wild, and tell me a rumor or a conflict you've heard about the Wild faction recently.
I bet I could do that if I prepared anything ever.
What's the skinny on all the fairies and demons of Los Angeles? What's the scuttlebutt?
I've heard that they're taking a greater action to influence the realm of mortals through some sort of underground drug trade.
Okay. Let's roll 2d6 plus wild and see how prepared you are for this occurrence.
8.
8. Okay, so that's a partial success. So that means that you've got a debt on one of the people in this involved in this incident, but someone else also has a debt on you. So what do you think that might look like?
I've helped someone at the pier through one of my investigations, and rather than taking an immediate payment, I just told them, "You'll owe me one later."
Help them avoid a drug thing going down?
I helped them avoid some sort of harm to their own person that would have come about as a result of what they do.
Maybe you help them sort of evade the suspicion of a rival gang?
Sure.
And what about the one that has a debt on you?
They helped me get in somewhere. I don't have authority to enter. I'm not allowed to be there, but they helped me get in.
Like you got an audience with one of the higher ups in the gang?
Sure.
Okay. And since this is the start of the session as well, I would now like you to roll for your foretellings ability. So at the beginning of the session, you roll with spirit. On a 10 plus, hold 2. On a 7 to 9, hold 1. And during the session, you can spend your hold to declare that something terrible is about to happen. You and your allies take +1 ongoing to avoid the impending disaster. Or on a miss, you foresee the death of someone important to you and take -1 to all rolls to prevent it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
2, 4.
It's a big 4.
Someone died.
So here's what I think happens. Malachi, you are experiencing a dream right now. And in this dream, you are standing in a graveyard. Close to you, maybe about 10, 15 feet away, is a woman dressed in all black. And you watch as this woman, who's standing before you with her back to you, kneels down and places a single rose in front of a grave. And then she stands up and turns around to face you, but her face is covered by a veil which obscures it. And you reach out to her, and as you do so, she's suddenly consumed by fire as flames begin to rise all around you. And then you wake up. You currently just woke up from dozing off at your office in your apartment, and you're aroused by the sound of a knock at your door. What do you do?
Back in the main, light of smoke.
Okay, so the door opens tentatively, and I guess first of all, what's Malachi's apartment look like?
It's not really extravagant, nothing big. Basically, like what a small studio apartment would look like. One big room where you'd have your living room, your kitchen, your dining area, and then like a bed just sort of shoved off in the corner, separate room for washroom.
Okay. Any sort of personal items or effects around?
Just desk, bookshelves, nothing huge or
Ostentatious.
yeah, it's not quite the word I was going for there,
The
but
word was a little ostentatious for.
Malachi kind of lives sort of a Spartan sort of lifestyle when it comes to decoration.
Like sparse but comfortable, maybe.
yeah.
Minimalist.
Not a lot, but it's cozy-ish.
Okay. So the door opens up, and a woman steps in. She's maybe around 19 years old, short hair and freckles, wearing sort of a professional-looking attire. And she just kind of pokes her head in through the doorway and kind of sheepishly goes, "Hey, you're the detective, right?"
No one else lives here.
Right. Yeah. That was a stupid question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She kind of steps in and closes the door behind her. Hi. My name is Abby Song. I'm a filmmaker. Well, actually, no, that's not that's not exactly true. I'm a production assistant. I'm hoping to maybe be a director someday, but they don't really let a lot of women directors into the industry, so I'm not really sure how that's going to pan. I don't know why I'm talking so much. I think I'm just kind of nervous.
Oh, take a seat. Just calm yourself. Take a breath.
She just goes and kind of sits down on your sofa. She looks pretty shaken.
What can I help you with, Miss Song?
Okay. I kind of got a weird situation on my hands, and I need you to promise not to laugh.
Go on.
Okay. Now, hear me out, but I think that the studio that I work at might be haunted.
And why is that?
Well, I was just the director had me sort of mop the floor after that scene, and as I went and took the mop bucket back to the closet, I saw someone down the end of the hallway, and it looked just like Hector Corazon. But that can't be right because everyone knows that Hector Corazon died 15 years ago. So what the heck, right?
Is there anything else I would lead you to believe the studio is haunted?
Well, there've been strange things happening lately. Things out of place. The director's been saying that someone's been rifling through his office. It looks like someone might have been looking for something. It's kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies if I'm being honest.
I can look into it for you.
How soon were you thinking?
I have no other jobs on the go right now.
All right, great. I was really hoping you'd say that. My car's just outside. Marlo.
That's me.
Out of all the other characters, who does Marlo find the least trustworthy?
Oddly, it's probably going to be Kato as well.
Really? Is it
Yeah.
because I'm a demon? Is that why?
Definitely.
You know,
Because
Supernatural
I
gave
serve
us a
a
bad
demon.
name.
Yeah,
Guys, like,
I'd
Supernatural
say,
gave me a bad name, okay? You don't have to all hate me. Patrick, I'm
Yeah.
looking at you. Don't fucking say you hate me.
But I have to tell you why, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I was going to tell you anyway, so it makes sense. But because, Marlowe's been kind of looking over his shoulder for a long time at bigger entities, stuff that's been chasing him down. But he's had a couple run-ins, but it's big, shady, spooky stuff. So not really comfortable with demons around, sort of thing. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm a little distrustful of, I believe, Pat as well, because he's fucking well spooky. Pat. Actually, can I change it? Sorry. You run, Kato. You're a bartender at the place. Like, fucking, we know each other. So
Yeah, like, I
wouldn't
look
really
out for
trust-
you, man.
Yeah, I'm actually. I trust you. It probably was uneasy. I probably didn't trust you at first, but at this point,
No,
I
I
do. So it is
understand,
Pat.
you know.
It's definitely Pat then.
I've always been transparent with you.
Okay. Patrick, pick a faction from Marlowe to Mark.
Okay. Do we start with our own faction marked, or do we start with nothing marked?
You start with your faction marked.
Okay. I'm going to say Knight then.
Cool.
So
Oh.
Marlowe,
Yes.
what's a rumor or conflict that you've heard about within the Knight faction recently?
Oh, and the Night faction. What am I supposed to know about the Night faction? Well, I it has to be specifically kind of a rumor thing. Rumor specifically, or like gossip, or yeah. I'd say that it's. I do stalk around similar areas as night. I tend to stick to the shadows at nighttime and wander around, so I do see things going on. Let's say I've noticed personally, as well as heard, that an awful lot of vampire happenings have been happening, so to speak. I may not have seen them all the time, but more people recently have been killed, and rumors are that it's members of the Night faction, that it's vampires feeding more often.
Roll me 2d6 plus your Knight modifier. A 6.
Yep.
All right. So, what is Marlowe up to on the morning of October 1st?
Oh, I'm probably in or nearing my sanctum. Probably heading back. I'm not going to. I'm not like a completely nocturnal, but I tend to be out really late, coming back around dawn, hanging around for a while.
Like early morning, like sun's still rising, and you're coming back?
Yeah. This is a particularly late night. I usually be back just before, like just as the sun peaks, I'd be getting inside, but checking for shit, making sure I'm not followed, backtracking around some alleys nearby just in case, sort of thing. Yeah.
So you're making your way, down the street, and as you round the corner, approaching your house, you suddenly notice something a little bit out of the ordinary.
Shit. That's never good.
Right across the street from your house, or I guess your parents' house, more accurately, there's a car parked that you don't recognize. It's a black Hudson Commodore, much nicer than any of the other cars in the neighborhood. And as you kind of squint your eyes, you see that there's two figures seated inside. The car is on but idling, and neither of them seem to be on their way out anytime soon. What do you do?
Well, I'm not going home tonight. Fuck that. That's entirely off the table. But I'm no stranger to just kind of vanishing, so I'm just gonna kind of keep up my hobo shuffle till I hit the next alleyway and just swap directions. I guess I'm gonna wander off to a ridge to catch some sleep later somewhere else.
Do you walk past the Commodore, or?
Preferably no. I would rather not. Like I would imagine that I see them a street away or so I still have an alley or two to duck down.
Can you roll me to keep your cool?
Ooh, yeah.
So that's 2d6 plus your spirit.
5. Oh, jeez, I have a good to that.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, bud.
Okay. Here's what I think happens. You turn to take off, and in attempting to get away from this situation as quickly as possible, you're a little bit reckless, and as you turn just a bit too suddenly, you accidentally bump into an aluminum garbage can that was sitting on the curb, and you knock it over, causing it to loudly clatter onto the road. And as this happens, the two occupants of the vehicle both snap to attention and look directly at you. You glance over and you see that the driver of the vehicle is an older man, but not as old as you, with sort of a grizzled, scarred face, and he's wearing a pair of sunglasses. And he gives you a look of suspicion, but not necessarily a look of knowing, although you do definitely hold his attention now. What do you do?
Not sleep for at least a day. Fucking, this is exactly the kind of shit I'm trying to avoid all the time. I don't book it. I'm around the corner and he's not making a move.
You gotta play it cool.
So I'm basically just going to bees line to almost the opposite side of town, and I'm not getting any sleep. I'm gonna stay. I'm just fuck. I'm not going to bed. I'm gonna make sure that I'm continuously moving and doubling back. And it's gonna be a long day.
All right. Is there anywhere you can go? Is there anyone that you can call on in this situation to offer some sanctuary?
There are, but I'd rather not, I don't know for sure if I need the help, right? I've probably done this a couple times before, so I don't think it's panic mode yet. It's not I need help immediately, but I'm definitely on the verge of it. I'm definitely like, shit.
I mean, you have magic too. If there's
well, not until I roll shit. I don't. I should remember to do that sometime. I would probably actually do that once I'm a certain distance away.
So that's if you do want to do that in this scene, that'll be 2d6 plus your spirit.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, 10. That's
there
better.
You go.
That's nice.
There you go.
Oh, that's so good because my focus gives me one additional hold when channeling. So instead of the maximum of 3, I have 4 holds now. That panicking was perfect. The adrenaline helps. Oh, cool. All right. I'll
What is
probably
it?
be all right.
What does it look like when Marlowe channels his power in preparation of a spell?
Nothing terribly conspicuous. Generally, I do it seated. I'd sit down, kind of slouch down. If I'm out and about doing stuff as I am, I kind of try to just pile myself up in rags and shit, so I just look like a dude passed out or fucking out of it sort of thing. But mostly it's kind of a meditation type thing, and I don't know if you gotta tie a length of time to it, but I don't think it takes terribly long.
As you channel and take a deep breath, you do hear the sound of a car engine running very slowly behind you.
Yeah, shit.
I don't know if you would want to turn around, but it seems incredibly likely that the Commodore that was parked outside your house has now turned and begun to follow you. What do you do?
Oof. Yeah, I think this is not good. I'm gonna teleport. This is still edge of my neighborhood. If the game mechanics allow it, at least I'd like to say that my character probably knows the city pretty well.
Yeah, you've been here for at least 40 years.
So it shouldn't be too bad to pinpoint where I want to go. It's just an alleyway. It's nothing special, but I don't know, because it says a short distance. So I'm assuming I can't make it to my house from here.
I'd say you could probably make it as far as back to the corner.
Yeah, because I just want to go the opposite direction of the way the car is currently moving.
Okay.
I just want to go back that way, like just a few alleyways over, like I don't know, again, short distance.
Okay. You don't have to roll for this or anything. Just spend one of the holds from your channeling.
Spent one hold. There it is.
So once the Commodore has crept past, you spend your hold and teleport to safety, though safety is a subjective term here. While you're fairly certain that whoever was waiting outside your house would have no way of getting into your sanctum itself, the fact that they've been able to pinpoint its location means that, to an extent, you've been compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very definite chance that they will come back.
Yeah.
In other words, The storms are brewing. Kato,
Yes. The fuck.
out
no.
of the other 3 player characters here, which one do you trust the least?
You know what? I'm gonna have to distrust Patrick the least because I accidentally killed him. How do I know he's not gonna come and get revenge on my ass?
I mean, that's fair.
Like, listen, it was a fucking accident. I'm sorry for your loss of your life, but like, you can't turn around and try to like be chummy with me. Like, how do you know? How do I know you're not gonna like stab me in the back with like a knife, bro? For real.
Solid
Right?
reasoning. Solid reasoning. Patrick,
I
choose a faction for Kato to mark.
I'm gonna say mortality for her.
All right.
Kato,
Yeah.
you work at a semi shady establishment. You probably soak up a lot of the gossip that comes and goes through your doors. What's the what's the latest hot goss going on in the mortal world?
Germany is starting to fuck shit up. I mean, people are starting to get like, you need to cool your shit over in Europe.
That's
So,
true.
When will
There's
they
lots
learn?
of talk about that. Lots of talk.
That's true. I guess you got an easy one there. Uh,
Yeah, everything else kind of pales in comparison. Yeah.
yeah. Roll 2d6 plus mortality.
Okay, so roll. What'd I get? Anyways, I got a 10.
Oh, Big 10. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Good money.
you are totally on top of this right now. You've got a debt or some key information on one of the people in mortality, and you don't have to give anything in return for that. So who do you have a debt on, or who do you who's bringing you some sweet intel?
You know what? I'm gonna go with like a journalist who is really enthusiastic about like knowing what's going on in the war. And although he is too fucking chicken shit to actually go into Europe and, you know, face those damn Nazis himself, like he's very much aware because like he's still in contact with like a corporal over there. So he's still getting like the play by play from the corporal. Like he's getting as many messages that he can. And he's completely swamped about this. Like or engulfed about like the story.
Does this journalist have a name?
Clark Kent.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. Clark fucking Kent.
I don't think we have that.
Ugh.
I don't think we
No,
have
but
the
it's
rights.
Clark with an E.
I mean,
It's Clark
rights
with
to
an E.
what? Rights to two names that people have.
Kenny Clarkson.
Other people are allowed to have the name Clark Kent, you know, Jack.
Really?
You know, Superman.
Yeah. Can we
Yeah, but
not?
they're not allowed to trademark it.
You know, that's it.
This isn't trademark. It's Clark with an E.
There you go.
I like Kenny Clark. I
No,
think
come on.
to avoid a copyright strike, I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, well it's Kenny Clark with an E.
Okay.
That word does work better, I think, in that case. Yeah. Kenny is short for Kent.
Yes.
Kato.
Yes.
Where were you on the morning of October 1st, 1941?
Okay, so are we talking like regular morning time, like 8 a.m., or are we talking like midnight morning?
Like early morning, like sunrise. This is happening like concurrently with Marlowe's situation.
All right, so sunrise. What happens is, I'm closing up shop. I had to kick the last 4 fucking drunks out of the speakeasy, and thankfully Rocky Ford, the bouncer, was there to help me kick some ass out of there. So I'm just like, you know, wiping down the counters from the spilled beer and the liquor, making sure all the bottles are put in the back. Like, you know, I'm sweating like a greasy monkey. My hair's flipping in ways that it shouldn't because I'm like, you know, working like decently hard. I'm just trying to like clean up shop before we just close for the night. Rocky's going around making sure all the doors are locked. Nothing like nobody's like, you know, underneath the tables, passed out, drunk. Like, he's just making sure everyone's cleared out, and I'm just making sure, like, inventory's done, counting the cash, making sure the till's ready for, like, for the next, like, 7 hours, because we open early, because we all know everybody's a drunk, so, like, keep them happy, right? Like, all that jazz. So, like, that's where I'm at. I'm at crack of dawn, I'm tidying up shop, and trying to go home.
Okay. As you're kind of just cleaning up, you hear, the last of the stragglers get tossed out the door as Rocky says, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, and slams the door behind them. And you look over your shoulder and you see him walk over, and twirling his luxurious handlebar mustache. And he looks over at you and says, Kato, you're still here?
Yeah, man, where the hell else would I be?
You know what? You've been putting in plenty of work lately. Why don't you go home early for once, get some rest?
Yeah, and leave you to close the speakeasy? Come on, man.
He laughs. Believe it or not, I can actually handle myself. Besides, I got Jimmy Bull here to help me. Ain't that right, Jimmy? Yeah, that's true. I'm still here. Everybody's favorite piano player, Jimmy Bull. Hello.
Oh my god, Jimmy.
Didn't
Good
make a whole
lord.
lot of tips last night, so I'm not really eager to meet my landlord, if you know what I mean.
Classic Jimmy.
Rocky just kind of pinches the bridge of his nose. All right, both of you go, get some rest. I got a feeling we're in for another long one tonight, so gotta sleep up while you can. I can take care of things here.
All right, Rocky. Well, just let me, put the cash in the back, lock the office, and put away this last case, and then I'm gone. How's that?
All right.
All right.
And he kind of waits and watches as Jimmy kind of packs up all of his sheet music and scrapes the bottom of his tip jar before heading out the door. And as soon as he's gone, he kind of walks over to you and says in sort of a quieter voice, so how are things with the other job?
Oh, that job? Well, listen, man. There was a couple of things that happened, the other day that
If there's
keeps
anything
me up at night.
If there's anything I can ever do.
I know, Rocky. You're the man.
All right, I think this counts as a moment of emotional intimacy. So, Kato, why don't you read off the intimacy move for the Tainted and tell everybody what it does?
Sure, if I can find it. What the hell is my intimacy form? Ah, yes. Okay, when you share a moment of intimacy, emotional or physical, with another person, they give you a debt they hold on to someone else.
Okay, so Rocky puts a hand on your shoulder and goes, I've been talking to Darlene. She's kind of eager to make more hours. Maybe if you want to take the night off, maybe I could get her to cover your shift if you want.
Yeah, and then what are you and I gonna do, Rocky?
Well, I'm gonna be working here. I'm thinking maybe you can go, get some rest, take some time to yourself. Maybe, maybe work things out with this side job of yours.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I have been working a little too hard, and maybe I do need a break and try to figure some stuff out.
Take care of yourself, Kato.
You too,
Get
man.
out of here. I'm sick of seeing your face.
Oh, shut up. You know you love me.
He laughs and just shoos you out the door. And you're walking home when suddenly this feeling kind of seizes your body. You feel this burning sensation in your lungs, and it's kind of like rising up through your throat. Like it's like the worst smoker's cough you've ever experienced in your life. What do you do?
Well, if I have a fiery cough, I would grasp my chest and kind of stumble to the nearest building and just kind of prop myself up with my shoulder and just kind of cough it out and roll through my situations. Holy shit, is this a heart attack? Is this reflux? Am I changing into my demon form for no freaking reason? What the hell? What's going on? And
as you duck into the alley and start to cough, this thick black smoke starts to pour out of your mouth.
There's some Foley work for you.
And as it does, the smoke you watch it just starts to like coalesce in front of you, and it takes the shape in the air. It takes this humanoid sort of shape in front of you that you recognize as the form of your infernal patron. Hello, Kato.
You know, you got a real nice way of presenting yourself.
I've been working on my entrance a little bit. Really takes your breath away, doesn't it?
You know,
That's a little pun or a play on words. We have fun here.
I wad a spit near his feet where they would have formed, and I just kind of look at him from underneath my brow, and I say, "Yeah, what the fuck do you want this time?"
I got another hit for you, Kato.
Who's the mark?
Here's the juicy part. It's another tainted, another one of you.
I hate these jobs.
It seems that a business rival of mine decided that he'd start and do a bit of recruiting around the Hollywood area. I can't exactly pin down who it is that's doing the work for him, but I know that he just killed someone last night, someone very important to me, someone that's been a cog in many plans I have going on in the city. I need you to find who killed Cyrus Cole, and I need you to make them suffer. Do you think you can do that for me, Kato? Pretty
Cyrus
please.
Cole.
Yeah. Big movie producer, got some mob connections, or he had anyway, so I guess I should start using the past tense on him.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, the murder scene was in his mansion up in Hollywood. I'm sure if you ask around, you'll be able to get the address. Letting you figure out the details is half the fun, you know. I'm a very hands-off employer. I like to let my employees kind of have their own elbow room.
All right. So then my question to you this time is, do I actually get assistance if this job is too big, or are you just going to let me suffer like last time?
Oh, I know you have friends, people you can call on. I don't want to make this too easy for you after all. Consider this a chance for promotion, depending on how things go.
Is my promotion my freedom?
Well, no, not exactly. Actually, not at all.
Gosh.
But hey, every job's got its benefits, right?
Yeah, well, let me know when you come up with the benefits package, because I've yet to sign.
You know where to find me. And then the smoke just sort of dissipates and just disappears.
What a dick.
Patrick,
Aye.
out of the other three at this table here, who do you trust the least?
Kato, because she killed me.
Okay,
No.
so sort of a mutual thing. All right.
Feel like that one was pretty easy.
Kato,
Yes.
pick a faction for Patrick to mark.
You know what, bitch? You can be a wild with me. Get your wild
Oh.
side going.
All right, take a walk on the wild side.
Yep.
So, Patrick, mark your wild,
Mhm.
and let me know what you've been hearing about the wild faction in Los Angeles lately.
I heard that some big shot dragon just moved into town recently.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, real tough customer. Don't know too much about him, but apparently he's someone to keep an eye on, from what I hear.
All right. Roll me 2d6 plus wild.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
4.
god!
Wow.
These fucking rolls.
Good
They
job.
get points
Pat.
for consistency.
That's a 4. Okay. So, Patrick, what are you up to this fine morning?
Well, Flora hasn't kicked me out of the house yet. I'm gonna be holed up at her house working on my screenplay.
Do you ever take a break, or is it just
I-
kind of every waking moment?
I pace every now and then. Gotta get up and pace a little bit. Sometimes I pace through the walls without realizing it.
Well, I think during one of these incidents of pacing, you make your way down to the kitchen of your. Actually, what is Flora's house like?
It's definitely not good. It's not a nice house. Like it's just definitely cheap, probably in disrepair, but like they're clearly doing their best to make it a home, you know?
It's a fixer-upper.
Exactly.
And you go into the kitchen, and you see, well, Francis is back from his night shift at the docks, and you see him sitting on the kitchen chair with Flora sort of leaning over him, looking concerned. And as you get closer, you see that Francis actually has he's got a bag of frozen peas that he's currently holding over his left eye. What do you do?
Oh, good morning, Francis. I didn't hear you come home.
Oh, it's The fucking ghost again. Hey, okay.
Fucking ghost again. I'm sorry.
We gotta start putting a bell on you or something, Pat, because he looks over you and kind of he lowers the frozen peas, and you see that he's got a bright purple shiner on his left eye there.
Oh, what happened to you, Frank?
It's these some new gang moved in on the territory where the docks are at. They're calling themselves the Strays. Came by last night asking for protection money, and I tried to stand my ground, let them know that I wasn't standing for that, but they didn't take too kindly to that. Dropped me like a sack of potatoes, if I'm being honest. I'm glad this shiner here is the only thing they left on me. Guess that was them being merciful.
Well, the important thing is you're all right.
Well, I get the feeling that they're going to come back tomorrow. And Flora kind of puts a hand on Francis's shoulder, and she's like, well, Frank, why don't you, maybe you should just take the day off, call in sick or something.
Yeah,
No, Flora, I can't. You and I both know that we can't afford to take any more vacation time. I guess I hope my boss coughs up, otherwise. Yeah. And he goes and walks past her, actually through Patrick.
Oh, that's a little rude.
Sorry. And goes up the stairs to the master bedroom. And Flora doesn't really say anything to you, but she just kind of looks away and then grabs her bag and walks off out the door for her job and takes off. What do you do, Pat?
Patrick's pretty clueless, but even he can read a mood, so I think he's gonna probably go for a walk for a little bit.
You did just witness a scene of victimization.
Damn it!
So, are you going to follow up, or are you going to mark corruption to ignore it?
I'm gonna take the corruption.
Okay, so first corruption of the game, everybody.
Ooh.
Y'all were right not to trust me.
Right? See? Well, what did I tell you about this fucker?
Patrick, mark off a point on your corruption track, and may God have mercy on your soul. So, moving back to Malachi.
It's your boy.
So you arrive outside of the studio lot for Bulkhead Pictures, which is the studio where your newest client, Abby Song, works. Abby actually drove you here herself in her hand-me-down old jalopy. So she just pulls into her parking spot, goes like, well, here we are, Bulkhead Pictures. I gave you the grand tour, but I guess I don't know, are you paid by the hour or?
We'll discuss payment.
Oh, okay, cool. Why am I still in the driver's seat? This is embarrassing. And she just kind of like hops out and runs around and opens the car for you.
All right, well, show me around.
She kind of leads you in. Now we're gonna have to be quiet here because I don't know if they're currently rolling or not. It could be a hot set, so if y'all could just keep your voice down to a whisper as we walk through the store, that'd be peachy keen. She opens up the door, and you see a nicely built set. It appears to be designed to resemble a detective's office, with papers and newspaper articles strewn all over the floors and on the walls, an ashtray overflowing with discarded cigarette butts, and a half-empty bottle of scotch sit on the desk. You see a man in a trench coat with a trilby hat, standing, looking outside the window, smoking a cigarette as a woman sits on the couch behind him. And as you walk in, you hear a shrill voice from some distance away shout, "Cut! Cut!" And everyone suddenly just kind of stops and starts milling around as a short, sort of lanky man makes his way in and starts barking orders at everyone around the studio space. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet, since you and Abby are still just back at the door. What do you do?
Take me to where you thought you saw Hector Corazon.
Well, I the first time I saw him was actually right outside the director's office. That's him over there, as I'm sure you may have gleamed. She leads you kind of around the studio space, around the set, and down a hallway. She leads you down to a door at the end of one of these hallways, and you see on a piece of just on a piece of cardstock has been taped over this door, and you see the words Alan Smithy, director, have been just hastily sort of scrawled on this card that was slapped onto the door. And she says, well, here it is. This is where we first saw the apparition. And as she kind of fidgets nervously, you notice, like right in front of the door, near the base, you see something of interest. There's actually just a single, slightly wilted rose just sitting at the base of the door. What do you do?
I'd like to pick up and investigate the rose.
Will you be using your psychometry move?
I will be using my psychometry move.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll for that. Yep, that's a 7.
A 7 succeeds partially, so you get to ask one question. What is the history of this object? What bans, wards, or limits are attached to this object? Where does the object belong? What secrets or mysteries has this object been privy to? Or what strong emotions have most recently been near this object?
I'm gonna go with what strong emotions have most recently been near this object.
Okay. As you pick up this rose and examine it, you feel just sort of this wave of grief. But not a recent grief. This is, it's the grief of someone who has mourned for a very long time. And so, while it has had a chance to sort of grow and fester, but not necessarily dull with the passage of time, if anything, it feels like with each passing year, the grief has just sort of grown exponentially. And Abby looks over at you and says, Mr. Abrams, is everything all right?
Who left this rose here?
I'm not sure. Are you okay? Are you experiencing an allergic reaction or something? I just noticed that your eyes are watering a little bit. And as she says that, you realize that you actually do have tears running down your cheeks right now, almost like involuntarily from sensing the emotions that were sort of absorbed into this item.
I'm pull a handkerchief out from my coat and just wipe my cheeks off. What's this cardstock here? There's something else printed on this door, isn't there?
Oh, you don't need to look at that. It's nothing too special.
Whose office was this?
This was the office of Cyrus Cole before his his untimely passing was last night, actually, and so the director decided that no sense in office space going to waste, so he kind of claimed it as his own, as it were.
I see. I'd like to speak to the director then.
Oh, good idea. I'll go get him. And she just immediately turns and takes off. However, as soon as she rounds the corner and disappears from your sight, Malachi, you feel a sudden chill in the air. And then, as if it were being pushed by some sort of invisible gust of wind, you see the door to Cyrus Cole's former office suddenly creak open on its own.
All right, I'll have a look around.
As you look inside, you see that there's a desk with a few accoutrements on it. Mostly, though, you see that the space is filled with boxes. It looks like someone was eager to move out the belongings of whoever occupied this office previously, and presumably move their own items in afterwards.
Just gonna have a look around the room. Anything like any awards for Cyrus Cole? I'll check out anything that's seems like something that would have been very important in his life, whether it's some great achievement or some horrible loss.
Not that I'm trying to force a lot of moves out of you, but if you're interested, you could roll to let it out, which might help you kind of hone in on any sort of potential leads in this room.
You're not forcing any moves. I literally do not know how to play this game.
Okay.
So this is helping. I'll let it out. 9.
Okay. So since that was a mixed success, you will mark corruption if you still
Yep.
want to use this move.
I think I still mark corruption regardless.
Okay. So one of your options is you can take +1 forward on your next roll, extend your senses, supernatural or otherwise, frighten, intimidate, or impress your opposition, which I guess doesn't really apply here, or take a definite hold of something vulnerable or exposed.
I guess extending my senses would probably help with this investigation.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
What does it look like when Malachi does his oracle thing?
He'll grip his shiny pointy knifey thing in his left hand. He's right-handed, but he'll grip it in his left hand, and his eyes go white as he focuses, as he lets it out.
And as you sort of expand your psychic influence, you start to sort of like tap into that sort of precognition, and you sense you sense sort of like a strong sort of emotional presence, not from any of the boxes, but from the desk itself. It seems like it's coming from somewhere in the one of the drawers of the desk that's actually located in this office. What do you do?
Oh, I think I'll look out the window. I'm gonna check out the desk.
Okay.
What a strange
You-
choice.
Right?
You open the top drawer of the desk, and you see an open letter addressed to Cyrus Cole. But since the envelope's already open, and you are a detective in an investigation, you may deem it appropriate to take a gander, if you so choose.
I mean, it's not like I'm gonna get fired. Let's check this out.
Okay, here's what it says. Dear Mr. Cole, in our past production meetings for Silent as the Grave, I have until this point sat idly by and bit my tongue as you see fit to meddle with the direction of my film. However, it is in response to your most recent interference that I am forced to put my foot down and write you this formal complaint. The suggestion to replace Sterling White, our lead actor, with someone who is, and I quote, younger and more likable, is an asinine decision and a complete betrayal of my film's original vision. I must request that you cease your micromanagement of this production before I am forced to do something which we will both regret. Sincerely, Alan Smithy, Director.
Guess I'll have to go have a word with Mr. Smithy.
Let's move on to Kato.
Hello.
Kato, you have just been informed by your patron to investigate a murder which has occurred up in Hollywood. You were told to poke around and see if you can find the address so you can investigate the scene in further detail. And you've been told that whoever committed this murder was another former human who had made a pact with a demon, much like yourself. What do you do? If you wanted, you could hit the streets to try and find your way to the abode of the late Cyrus Cole.
Sure.
Okay, so Cyrus Cole was a member of Mortality. So mark Mortality on your character sheet, and then
It's already
roll...
marked.
Oh, well then just roll 2d6 plus Mortality.
4.
Oof.
That's a miss.
Well, I don't think that has any negative connotations.
Not to my knowledge. I think that just
But-
means that I can't catch a bus.
Basically, yeah. Nothing really comes up. Is there anything else that you'd like to do to try and investigate?
Yeah,
I guess you could always just sort of actually, if you want,
Mhm.
you could attempt to let it out and maybe use your demonic senses to try and lead you to the site of other demonic activities by extending your senses.
Okay, yeah, let's try that. Give me a good one. 9.
A 9
Mhm.
means that you get to choose one of the following options, but you also have to mark corruption.
Yep.
Do you still want to follow through with the move?
Yep.
You can take +1 forward on your next roll, extend your senses, supernatural or otherwise, frighten, intimidate, or impress your opposition, or take a definite hold of something vulnerable or exposed.
Extend my senses, I think.
Do you think this is something that you need to assume your demon form in order to achieve, or is this something that you can sort of do in a more dormant sense?
I think that I can do this in a part way. Because like I said, my demon sprites inside of me, they do like kind of work for me. So I can, in a sense, similar to the way of how the patron came out of me, I can like cough out a little sprite or two that can go out and like kind of search like the grounds around it. Kind of like, remember Sai from Naruto when he did like his little like ninja RB scroll with like his mice, and then they all scattered and then they came back and then gathered information?
So you're gonna barf up an imp to go and scout ahead for you and then lead you to the location.
More or less, yes.
That is so fucking metal. I love this character so much. Okay, let's do it.
Sweet.
So you regurgitate one of your little imps.
Yeah, like right in the middle of the street. Like, don't give a fuck.
Is there any sort of... Are you sure you want to do that? Or, I mean, Los Angeles is a busy city.
Listen, all people are just going to be tripping balls at this point, and they're not even fully awake. They're not going to know what they saw.
You regurgitate a little imp, which goes and runs ahead, and a few minutes later it returns to you and reveals to you the location of Cyrus Cole's former mansion. And I say former because once you arrive there, you realize that more than 70% of the former building has been burnt to the ground. It would seem that the fire department has already come and gone, and while the property is surrounded by yellow tape, you appear to be fortunate in that there aren't any police officers on the scene at this present moment. What do you do?
Step through the ashes, see if I can find anything that survived the fire. Do I roll anything for that?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
You're going to investigate a place of power. So, roll 2d6 plus mortality.
Yes, 10.
On a hit, you see below the surface to the reality underneath.
Okay.
And on a 10 plus, you can ask the MC, which is me, one question about the schemes and politics of the faction in question, which in this case is mortality. So I'll say first, as you sift through the ashes, you do find one thing that's interesting. You find a long black feather, longer than any birds that you think are indigenous to the Los Angeles area. But other than that, that seems to be the only sort of object of interest you can find. The rest is all just personal belongings that have been singed or burnt. And It's worth noticing that this feather, even though it was buried under ash and smoldering wreckage of building, is strangely untouched, almost as if it was immune to the flames. You can also ask me one question about the schemes and politics of the Mortality faction, which Cyrus Cole was a member of.
What was he doing in the mob?
That is a great question. As an accomplished member of the Hollywood elite, Cyrus Cole was a rich and powerful individual, and like many of such individuals, it wasn't long before he was consumed by greed and corruption. Behind closed doors, Cyrus bribed, extorted, and threatened his way to the top of LA's underworld, basically aiming to own the biggest piece of the city as humanly possible. But now he's dead, and while the motive of his murder is unclear, it won't be long before all four of the city's factions begin vying for the power vacuum that he's left behind.
Mm-hmm. So the black feather, does the black feather smell like anything? Like, does it smell like, because I'm thinking this is otherworldly, right? Because it's not indigenous. So for whatever reason, I'm thinking that this is definitely not a bird, like, of any sort. I'm thinking this is like, a fallen angel type feather. And I'm wondering, like, because I in my head, they would have like a distinct smell. Like when you smell demons, it's naturally you would smell sulfur. So I'm wondering if it has like a distinct smell that, like,
it smells like brimstone and
okay.
dried blood and decay. Just sort of a cocktail of all those, all sort of rolled into one.
Right. Okay.
Whoever this tainted is receiving their patronage from, you can be pretty damn well sure that they're bad news. Patrick,
Uh-huh.
what are you up to right now?
Well, I can tell that Frank probably didn't want to see me right now, so I'm out going for a walk, hitting up some of the old haunts. No pun intended.
Sure.
What are the old haunts to you?
Mostly quiet places where I like to do some of my writing, like the park or some such.
Would you hang out at a park? Bunch of random people around.
If I can't be seen, it's not a big deal.
And what do you are you just kind of going for a walk or a float?
Yeah, I think the way it works is I have like my physical screenplay and like the physical typewriter used to write it like back at home, but I also have like a spiritual typewriter, so like I think I can kind of make that apparate and I use that, but like I'm just like making notes that I'll then incorporate into the actual screenplay when I get back home.
Ooh, Ghost Rough Draft. I like it.
Exactly.
So you're just kind of working, just kind of clacking away. And what's your manifest looking like right now?
I can touch and be touched, and I can be heard, but I cannot be seen.
So as you're walking, and you're sort of clacking away at your typewriter, as you're just kind of floating, maybe not paying attention to where you're going, you suddenly run into someone.
Oof.
It's a youngish man. He appears to be of Korean descent, wearing sort of a tough leather jacket. You sort of got like a James Dean look going on. As you walk into him, or as he walks into you, it's hard to say. You knock his sunglasses off, and they fall to the ground, and he kind of scowls. He's like, "Hey, watch where you going, ghost."
Oh, I'm very, very sorry about that, sir. That was a
Yeah,
terrible Irish accent.
You've been so good up till right
You
now.
knocked the Irish right out of you.
Oh, my accent's slipping.
You better be. He picks up the sunglasses and
I was
puts them
gonna
back
do
on the
it for
floor.
him.
She's like, for what, I'm kind of a big deal for what it's worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Keep this between you and me. My name's Daco. I'm sort of a dragon.
Would you mind spelling that for me?
Yeah, that's DAK-HO.
Oh, a hyphen. Don't see many of those these days.
Don't fucking patronize me.
I'm not trying.
It occurs to me that any bystanders in this scene would just kind of be seeing Daco having a conversation with himself right now. But it's a big enough park, and it's still like early enough in the day that there probably aren't too many people around. And if there were, they'd probably just chalk it up to the usual sort of big city weirdness. So let's just roll with it. Well, what are you even doing on my turf, anyways? You're a ghost. Shouldn't you be floating around a cemetery somewhere?
Oh, well, I don't like to hang around that place. I'm a bit of a, bit of a loner.
I guess I can respect that. I know what it's like being, lone wolf, out trying to make my mark on the world.
That certainly feels like it sometimes.
I can't see you right now,
Well, I don't think anybody can see me right now.
but you sound like a kindred spirit. Yeah, I feel like you're someone who's trying to get noticed. Am I right?
Well, not in so many words, but yeah, I suppose that's true. To tell you the truth, I'm working on a screenplay.
Oh, yeah. You and everyone else in Hollywood.
Well, that was a little called for.
Now who's being patronizing?
You seem like you have a good head on your shoulders. I can't tell because I can't see you, obviously, but you sound like a stand-up guy.
Well, if you give me a moment, I can make myself apparate if you like.
Yeah. You know what? Why don't we adjourn to somewhere a bit more private? You don't want to spook the normies.
He is flirting with him. Jeez. I suspected that person. Oh. Just us two lone wolves out here in the park all alone. Why don't we take this somewhere else and you can apparate for me?
Because all he wants to do is touch and be touched.
But anyways, you guys go and just kind of duck behind a tree, and do you operate?
Oh. Well, freaky.
Yeah. I will
Tree
switch from
or
touching
tree.
to being seen. So seen and heard now.
Okay.
He was touching.
Well, look
Now
at
he's being
you.
heard.
You're a
Well,
good-looking guy after all.
I can't take this seriously anymore, guys.
Oh, you flatter me.
So you said you're a bit of a screenwriter then, huh? What's give me an elevator pitch. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, well, it's a bit of a horror movie, but also a bit of a detective movie with a little bit of a fantasy movie in there.
So a little bit of something for everyone.
Oh yeah. It's starts with a man. He's in love with this woman, right?
All right.
But the woman's in love with a different fella.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And eventually the woman disappears, right?
Oh my god, you're blowing my mind here, dude.
Yeah, that's about all I got right now.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you got a good start. Sorry, I don't think I caught your name.
Patrick Flaherty.
Can I call you Pat?
I can't stop you.
You know, Pat, I don't say this about a lot of people, but I like the cut of your jib.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You know, I'm new to the city. I could use more friends.
Oh, it never hurts to have more friends.
Yeah. You know, I think that there's potential here. You know what I'm saying?
If there's potential for something.
I think
So we're both shooting for the same thing here.
See, I've got a bit of a dream myself. I've come down here to Los Angeles because I'm in search of something that I haven't really been able to find on my own. But maybe with maybe if I had a bit of paranormal assistance, it might be a bit easier for me to obtain.
Muscly ghost hands.
And I'm just throwing this out here. How's this for an elevator pitch? If you could help me find the thing I'm looking for, maybe I could just happen to stroll into some Hollywood studio and say that I would like to posthumously submit a script that my dear friend Patrick wrote, in the hopes that it might get picked up by a famous director.
Well, to be fair, you're not really stretching the truth with that.
Oh, I think he's interested.
This is like the shadiest situation like imaginable. Like some guy later runs into you and says, "Hey, buddy, I can make your dreams come true if you just help me out with this vague problem I have."
Welcome to LA, baby.
Yeah. But also, in life, I imagine Patrick's the kind of guy who bought the Brooklyn Bridge more than a couple times. So he's like, that sounds like a dandy deal to me.
All right. Sounds like we got ourselves a deal.
If it's within me power, I'll do whatever I can to help.
So, I guess we can shake on it, or I guess figuratively. I don't really know how all this ghost stuff works, but I can tell you what I'm looking for.
Yeah, please do.
I've heard a bit of hearsay down the grapevine that there's a collector in the city, a collector of magical artifacts. The one I'm looking for specifically is said to be the prize item in his collection. A special orb, which is very important to dragons like myself. So, what do you say, Pat? Are you down for a little heist?
Oh well,
Think
stealing is a big ask.
How would you like to become the most famous posthumous writer in all of Hollywood? Does that sweeten the pot a little bit? I said I'm new here, but I got friends. I came down here for a reason. I've got connections. I got networks.
This orb, it's nothing dangerous, is it?
No, quite the opposite. It's actually quite beneficial for me.
Well, that doesn't sound vaguely threatening at all.
No, right? Totally benign. It's got sentimental value.
I have one request here.
Okay. You can roll to figure him out at any time if you want.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
So far, he's been pretty forthcoming.
I don't think he's hiding anything per se. That's a 5. That's a miss. All right, I just have one request here. As a ghost, I don't really have much need for, the currency of the world myself, but I have a family I need to take care of. So, if any royalties or anything that come off the script, I'd like you to help at least give them a tidy sum of it.
Patrick, right hand of God, I will make sure that your next of kin gets 100% of the profits to your script.
Well then, we have a deal.
It's a date. Marlo, we're coming back to you.
Oh shit.
So last we left off, you narrowly avoided detection, trying to return to your sanctum.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit later in the day. It's about early to mid-afternoon. Where would you say you'd be around this time?
Hopefully, me
Well,
and
normally in his sanctum, but here we are.
yeah. I'm probably wandering around. You said it was midday or late day.
It's getting around like maybe 2:30 in the afternoon.
Now's a pretty decent time to have been heading back or to be checking on the place, I think. So I'd
Okay.
like to not go and get right involved necessarily, but the furthest vantage point that I know of and see if anything's going on at the location.
How about because you're kind of still trying to evade detection on your way back?
I mean, I haven't seen them since, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But just to make sure you're not being tailed,
But
why
yes,
don't you roll me to escape a situation? So 2d6 plus blood.
escape? Yeah, 3.
Okay. You seemingly make it back unfollowed, and once you get back to your sanctum, it appears that the coast is clear.
All right.
Now, you
Good.
mentioned to me that you require teleportation to get into your sanctum, correct?
Yeah, that's the only way in and out. Which
So
is why I'm
since
fine
this
just
is,
leaving it there.
Since this is the start of a new scene, I'll need you to roll for channeling again.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
Was that another 10?
That's another 10 for channeling.
Fucking, you are a wizard.
I'm the wizardist.
So yeah, you get 3 hold to spend in the scene to cast whatever spells you want,
4 hold because I got my focus.
and no downside.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm gonna teleport inside. Real nice.
And just as a refresher, what does the inside of your Sanctum Sanctorum look like?
It is kind of a broken down house. I can give the full tour basically. It's an old 2-story house. One kind of main room downstairs, stairs up to one room and a bathroom. Let's look up architecture and whatever exact year. Whatever. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal about it. It's not that long ago. Wait, did they have outhouses? Yeah.
They would have had modern day plumbing.
This is
so-
modern day plumbing. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting caught up. But yeah, anyway. That's but it's all packed on the inside. The doors and windows are all boarded up, sealed over. You can't see through them. They've got shit over them. And from the inside, there's furniture of all kinds and junk and trash. Nothing really trashy. Like I'm not literally just collecting trash like insane old man style. Like
Yeah.
it's all real furniture and shit. Like it's nothing I really want to use so much. It's not exactly just a big fly-filled dung pile. Like yeah, it's a little better than that. But there's books and shit scattered about, but it's pretty tightly packed. So it's smaller on the inside than it is on the outside because of all the shit backed up against the walls. But that means you can't. I mean, there's not much room in it, but there's enough room for me. And upstairs in what was the master bedroom, well, the only bedroom, is a focus circle, kind of scratched and burnt into the carpeting upstairs. Old ass carpeting too, not like nice to walk on. It's just basically walking on wood at this point, but it's flat and shit. Yeah.
So you've successfully warped back into your sanctum. As you took a look around, your hopes are confirmed. It appears that everything is exactly where you left it. It looks like whoever was parked in front of your house this morning was unable to enter, and so everything is untouched. And as you are now in your sanctum, you are safe for now.
I am.
What do you do?
Probably sleep. It's been a long time. Although I did want to back up real quick, not too far. But you asked me what it looks like when I was channeling, but not when I teleport,
Yes.
which isn't terribly important. But I had thought about it, so I thought I'd bring it up now. It's nothing terribly flashy, just like eyes. I kind of stand still, my eyes roll back just a little bit, and I kind of just fade from top to bottom real quick. It's kind of wipe like an eraser out of existence, just kind of, and it's just kind of the same thing back where I teleport. No special crazy stuff. It's just a nice transition. It's a nice, slideshow presentation of, where it comes in from the top as opposed to the bottom. One of those transitions. Anyway, but yeah, I'm probably going to, if everything's completely fine. I don't think there's anything crazy I want to do before I.
Okay, so as you trundle up the stairs towards the bedroom, something nailed to the wall suddenly catches your eye. It's an old ratty calendar that you fished out of a dumpster somewhere. But you notice that it's turned to the month of October, and the first of the month, which is today, is circled. And do you remember what you do on the first of the month? No, the first of the month means that it's time to go visit Mom.
Oh, that's what I do on the first. That is true.
Marlowe Haas, it's time to repay your first debt.